Hello, it's Seed and Weed Wednesday, everyone. So I'm really excited. This month, I want to talk to you all about composting. So for the whole month, it's going to be all about composting because I think this is a really important topic. For those of you who don't know, our high school leaders from the ground up have had a focus on composting for quite some time, and they've been trying to educate the public. So hopefully you take advantage of this month and all the information I'm going to throw at you, and you put it to good use. And any questions you have, put it in the comments because I'm happy to engage in a conversation and answer all those questions. I know this is kind of a hot topic for people. No pun intended. All right, so I'm going to kick off with why composting. Why is it so important? Composting is really important because we have depleted a majority of our topsoil in America, due to over farming, to our commercial farming practices, and the way we do things. We are constantly taking nutrients out of the soil, depleting the soil, and very rarely are we putting things back in, especially in organic forms. A lot of times we use fertilizers, commercial fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, and things like that. And those, while they allow things to grow, they're not actually building our soil. So it's a very short-sighted approach to our gardening practices. So composting is super important. It helps maintain the moisture level. It puts back in the nutrients. It also builds all of the microbes that we need to have in our soil to produce healthy food and to be healthy ourselves. So choosing what type of compost. So that's what this week we're going to talk a little bit about your different options. So if you have space outside, I would highly recommend doing an outdoor compost because you can do a larger quantity. It's easier. You can also incorporate in your browns and greens from your yard. So like your grass clippings, your leaves, your sticks that have fallen. You can also put in ash from your fireplace. There's all kinds of things that can get incorporated and are great for your compost outside. If you don't have space outside, and you still want to do some composting, I got good news for you. You can do something called vermicomposting, which can be done inside. It can be in your basement. I know people that have vermicomposting bins under their sink. And that is really, it's a worm farm. So you are keeping earthworms in your house. So you need to make sure they are living beings. So you need to make sure that the environment is good for them. They need like a cooler, darker place, and you need to feed them. So you're just feeding them food scraps. All of your food scraps go in, they eat them up, and what comes out is your incredibly nutrient-rich compost. So those are two options for doing it at home. There's also a growing industry for compost pickup. So like on a larger scale. I know in our area, our from the ground up leaders are looking at making that a growing trend. So those who don't feel comfortable doing the composting in their own yard, they're contributing because this is important for the greater good, our environment. It reduces what goes into our landfill, which is extremely important, while also rebuilding and regenerating our soil, which are two things that we desperately need people to be focused on. So these are, and if food waste is huge, like majority of the food that's wasted in our country is coming from your own refrigerator. Think about your vegetable bin and how often things go bad before you consume it. And that's a large volume of our food waste. And if we can compost that and put those nutrients back into the earth, at least it's not completely wasted and we're not doing more harm by putting it in a landfill. So if you want to do it at home, you just need a small space outside, in the shade. Doesn't get strong direct sunlight, so you want it to be in the shade, and Next week, we'll talk about what to put into your compost, because I know attracting animals is a big concern of people. So we'll talk about, how you maintain your compost, what you put into it to minimize that. If you're going to do it at home, you can just do a search for vermicomposting, and you can purchase the supplies. You just make sure that you are cutting up your food into smaller pieces. So like if you have leftover, let's say, melon rind that you're going to dispose of, just cut it up into smaller cubes and put it in there so that it can break down quickly and can be consumed by your worms. If you're going to use a commercial composting company, I know in our area there's one called Blue Earth, which we are looking to help to partner with and to help promote in our area. But you could do a quick search for what's available in your area. Most of them just require a certain number of people in your town to start doing pickups. And then a lot of them you will get one complimentary bag of compost per year for your contributions. So that's what I've got for you this week. I hope you are super excited to learn more about composting, because this is the fun stuff. I love building the soil. Like, we really desperately need to be doing this. So I hope you have an open mind. And if you have questions right off the top of your head, put them in our comments, because I am more than happy to answer them.